we're going to lock in the Corki. There's a hush around Low Park as everyone's like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, where's everything going? Well, we know...
C's is the player most likely to play something crazy. He's a Kindred player. He's a Karthus player. And Griffin seemed aware to the ruse because of the Morgana ban. Rift Heralds could be big. But we need more information, Atlas. We know very little about the Kai'Sa jungle apart from the smattering of solo queue games that you sometimes spot.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact that she can gank almost any lane because there's hard CC in all of them, so you can set up the Plasma pretty nicely. I'm interested to see how it's going to go as C's makes his debut here for summer. Well, Griffin playing relatively standard, but they do have a lot of power in their picks so far. They will spot the ward in this brush.
Oh, no, they weren't able to actually clear it, though.
Yeah, that feels bad. But,
the sweeper.
Yeah, he's going to be able to lock that one down. No worries. Looks like vertical jungling might ensue here on Jina's side, as you can see. Already Tarzan and Sword moving on over. Sword taking Glacial Augment, as we've seen most of the time. Feels
WTF,
like
2 Sejuanis.
Whoa.
That's too many piggies.
My goodness, that's the real Piggy though.
We never get Piggy in the middle.
That's definitely the real Viper. He's just teleporting. Okay, so he's just going to shapeshift his way towards these 4 members of Jin Air. And I just want to see the first Killer Instinct gank. I want to see it happen. I'm really excited.
I'm much more interested in the earlier phase because I would imagine would have no trouble clearing single target camps.
Yeah.
And you get 100 AD, and damn, you're going to blow them up with your Q, right? With all the single target damage there. But we are in the dark here. Now, you get a lot of AD from Warrior Enchant, so maybe you need to go that way for the evolve. You could go to the attack speed. Now, kiting camps is the reason that it's very easy to go at range junglers. Think of Graves, for example, who never takes any damage between being range and pushing away camps. Yep. Not going to lose the patience here. Takes almost no damage from it. Not going to be going to Krugs. Like we speculated, probably sticking single target where possible.
This is a really cute little ward, though, that's been put down already by Griffin. So they'll spot C's moving towards the top side. They'll know exactly the path that he's taken as well.
Top side ward most important because when you see a non-standard jungle pick like this as a tank jungler, your usual only option is, oh crap, I'll just take 3 camps top side on the red side and be level 3 and see what happens. Now with the extra information, he knows he's not going to be cheesed, so he can go for whatever path he wants.
Yeah. Tarzan is going to go buff to buff as well, but he's going to fit in a chick camp in the middle. So he's going to have a slight advantage, but C's, like you were talking about, just going to be heading towards as many single target camps as possible.
Yep. Attack speed buff. He's got the missing health damage that comes through from his passive. Big favorite of Afrika Freak's jungler Spirit and solo queue, but we never thought this one would map. However, he's usually the mad scientist. He's played Lulu jungle, he's played Riven jungle, Spirit's played a bit of everything. We don't get to see him anymore, but we're happy to see his flavor still in the LCK. As speaking of flavors, Tucson's made this Predator support Pyke the standard keystone in the LCK.
Yeah, the Pyke Civil Lane. We'll see how it is going to fare for Jin Air. At the moment, not so well, as Griffin are shoving them in, but you can see that that's largely to do with the fact that Lux is going to have a lot of added wave clear, and Lucian's a bit of a bully.
Seeing the runes here and not mind blown by anything, still keeping Aftershock on the Sandra, which is kind of the standard choice. It is Guardian this time for the Lux, which we usually expect. If you're not going to go Unsealed Spellbook, you consider between Aftershock and the Guardian. Real chance that Pyke and his speed, you're just going to miss that binding and die as Lux going the Guardian way.
Well, Tarzan looking for Grace here in the mid lane. Bit of a glacial battle, but nothing going to come from it.
You said glacial battle, and I thought of Team Fight Tactics.
I mean, that's why I said it. So I'm glad we're on the same page. We've nailed it. Synergy's still there.
It makes glacial pace something different. Now it's the pace towards unlocking your glacials rather than just a slow game.
Or if you're stacking nobles at glacial pace because you're using glacials as a bridge.
Man, Sword is stacking damage into Lindaram. Is gonna have to chomp on that potion.
I believe first time that our Sword's played Nico so far this season.
He's been
playing a lot of Jace.
Yeah, he's been very one note. Almost double-digit games after 3 weeks. Insane.
8 games on Jace. Oh man.
Just to give them a power lane. It's been the way he's been playing.
Yeah.
Kai's
Also
jungle
means that he stays out of trouble.
seems like I got the right call. It does seem like we're going to go for the attack speed upgrade first. This does mean that he blows up Drakes, for sure.
Oh. Well, we'll see whether that's going to be where Jin Air are going to head.
Because you do
Mount
maximum
Drake
HP
in 10
damage.
seconds,
It's maximum HP damage into missing health damage between the completed Blood Razor, Devourer, I forget the name, I think it's Blood Razor. And then, of course, the passive. So, a lot of synergy between those two. I always get those ones confused. The AP and the attack
That's because
speed
they changed so many times in a very short period of time.
But I never got like Rat-a-tat-tat or Finalis Funken wrong. Like I got those ones right, but these ones for some reason just are in a blind spot.
I often forget Final Spark because I'm always getting ready to say Finalis Funken, which is just too hard to say for me.
Are you allowed to say that on a PG broadcast?
Well,
you pronounced it in a way that sounded offensive.
I have a feeling that might be exactly why it was changed. I don't know.
From what I understand,
Australians
it was hard to translate.
Yeah,
I think that was around the time like the Korean release was coming and all the other releases were coming. And when you go multi-language, it turns out a pretty tricky to say German thing is.
Yeah, and also doesn't quite work as the same way.
But the Predator
in German
does.
Yeah, okay. Chovy just going to use Valkyrie. That's the hard counter to Pyke's Predator gank.
You got to say, Corki with Flash Cleanse among the counters to Roman Pyke ganks.
One of the more difficult. But, you know, when Grace can get in range to get his ulti down, maybe they'll get a cleanse and then they'll get a burn skew or something like that.
The front lines in this game are brittle.
Well,
I feel like we're off-brand front lines is what we got here. Even Coles wouldn't sell these.
Oh, really?
No, they'd be too proud for that.
I mean, Coles was really excited about selling the last Aatrox that we saw. So well, this one's the one they're just going to leave.
Sejuani definitely got the tankiness, but everyone else a little bit brittle.
Okay.
Grace walks up, gets the Aftershock proc, which means he's going to be A-OK on the trade. But it's not getting Jin Air anything, and it kind of feels like Griffin, with this Lucian and Lux lane, they've grown a bit of a CS lead. They've got the priority. They want a Drake as well, but for now, at least Jin Air not budging.
And also wanting to make sure that there can't be a cheeky Kai'Sa to take away a Drake or anything like that at the moment, going for the second red buff of the game. Slightly behind, of course, Tarzan, with a little bit more of a greedy path, was able to farm a lot more of these camps.
Now he's invading. Tarzan has a level lead here.
Yeah, Nova is in position, but can they actually do anything about this is the question. Warden their own red as Tarzan, nope, not going to think about it. As Grace was trying to roam over, Chovy does get priority, but it is enough time bought by Jin Air to secure themselves the red buff for Seas.
And you can see that in the early game, the Kai'Sa's a bit Nidalee-esque in that your first clear isn't particularly fast because you can't do the AoE camps very well, but you know Nidalee gets the jungle enchant and then blows up the jungle instantly.
Yeah.
Sejuani, because they got the deep ward down and wasn't afraid of being cheesed, actually just clears the jungle faster than Kai'Sa in the early game, and that's why we see a level lead for the Sejuani here. So a lot of value in the ward. Seas, you wanted to see that lane gank. Predator's up. The Killer Instinct available.
Following in, now looking for Lehens.
This is very
There's
cheesy.
the flash, the Bone Skewer does come forward. They don't manage to get the proc. There it is. Finally, as Lehens has a shield and the Culling's going to fly forward. Nova almost dies. And Jin Air, they do get one flash.
Yeah, but they invested both summoners on Nova as well. The cheese right there, if I have to review it, I'm not really a wine reviewer. I can't really review cheese, but it's a bit stinky Atlas on that one.
Yeah.
It's so forced.
It was not the good kind of stinky either, which when you're talking about cheese can often be a decent thing. Just not the case this time.
I like the fact that they're doing something cool, but did not find any inroads from that one. Tarzan's top lane, we know it's sword.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty tilting. It's not quite laughing in the face of the enemy, but it's up there.
Well, Linderung is aware that this is the real Tarzan paying a visit. Throws out the ultimate, and Pop Blossom is going to deny it. There's just too many ultimates. It doesn't even matter if you miss half of them, because Chovy's even here to deliver you a package.
It's not a cheese smorgasbord, but a smorgasbord of damage. They just bring 3 people top lane. No way for the Kai'Sa to respond. No Killer Instinct available. Mid lane can't counter roam. No way for Grace to get there. As you say, really easy on the first package timing here. Just feels like Chovy got the push a little bit earlier, and they get top, and they get inroads.
Yeah, and that was almost like the Glacial Prison was a zoning Glacial Prison to like see whether he flashes a little bit early. As you can see, Tarzan comes over. Good sidestep from Linderung.
The thing is, if you throw it there and the only option is to juke upwards, turns out if you have first run with the package, they're dying anyway. So while you make your references to the Team Liquid jungler, it was very calculated from the side of Tarzan.
Yeah. Viper Hens continuing to push in. Haven't got any turret plates just yet. They're ticking over 10 minutes now.
They've got quite a lot of CS lead.
Yeah, that's a 30 CS lead at 10 minutes. Okay.
Well, the thing is, Pyke's support 2v2 is not great. It's one of the reasons why Pyke saw a resurgence was, what about flexing it? What about Morgana? What about other gimmicks to get the Pyke over the line? Only Hylissang showed really impressive games on Pyke and a 2v2 back in the day. So with the changes coming in 9.13, we start running lower on ways to make Pyke work, apart from maybe, again, back to the Frostmancy stuff in the bot lane. Still, Nova tried his flash play, it didn't work, and now he's just in lane with Predator. Doesn't really do much in the 2v2.
No, hiding in a brush is not what you want to be doing. And right now, Griffin have their eyes on the Mountain Drake. Kaiser doing the Krugs at this point in time, but should be able to make it over if that Drake is going to be started. With Griffin deciding not to start it off. Some camps for Tarzan to take before that is the case.
He's really comfortable here. The side of Team Griffin haven't been blown away at Jinair, but you can just see they're getting the sort of incremental leads you need to do rather than just the farm fest we were treated to. In game number 1 of the night, turret plates will abate in about 3 minutes. They'll want at least 2 on the bot side, the kind of Lux standard. There's only so much Root and Nova can do.
Yeah. I actually like the fact that Griffin are playing a little bit more slow and steady, not wanting to let this interesting strategy catch them off guard, as C's has finished his Blood Razor.
Blood Razor's done, so C's just wants to walk up to a neutral and blow it up. That's what happens when you get your attack speed. Watching C's.
Shelly could be the option here.
It's definitely a safer place to go than bot side, because obviously no bot side priority, as we noted.
Ping's going down from Griffin.
Yeah, they know that he's here.
They've smelt something out. Troll Ward comes in.
The ward here is getting supreme value in the River Brush.
Oh, Grace can take half of his health bar here. Doesn't quite have the Aftershock available.
Yeah, it didn't have range on the Ring of Frost here.
Whoa, there's the ulti. Can they get him before? Yes, they can.
That was epically calculated, Atlas. They denied any Aftershock potential. Killed him from 40% health from the Glacial Prison. Nice stuff from Griffin, and
they
Grace
denied
everything.
With his food. He couldn't even self-ult.
Nope.
The CC bar was what I was trying to say, but he died before I could even get it out.
That's not that easy to do with a ranged champion next to Sejuani, but because his health bar was already so low because he was denied Aftershock the first time, the second time, he's dead. So, nice.
And also let me talk about it. Chovy had his Trinity Force and his first power spike on his Corki.
I feel like the first power spike for Griffin against Jinair happened before the game started.
Yeah, I think the power spike might have been the schedule.
Hidden passive. R Griffin.
Yep, B Griffin.
You watch it here. Just blows him up, and he's spamming W and R.
Oh, and Lehen stole the kill with the final spike.
I missed that.
All right. Well, I mean, get some extra assists on your team. Don't mind it, theoretically, more money. But a little bit rude.
So Tarzan is usually kind of given the benefit of the doubt of being the brains behind Griffin's kind of rise to notoriety without unfortunately being able to pick up the big title behind it. Do you think that also means he's the most likely to succeed at teamfight tactics of the current LCK pros?
Ooh, I thought that. Or Viper, just because Viper's so smart. He's a really intelligent guy. So, like, maybe it's just going to be Viper. I have a feeling that you're on the right track, though, with a Griffin player.
I feel like Mata would also have some really good moves in teamfight.
He'd also be really good at stealing your stuff before you get it. I feel like Mata would revel in doing that.
And he's the master of the alternate strategies. We don't forget his one-handed Jace support game. So he also would probably be able to come up with some good cheese.
Well, Tarzan's going to face check. Not exactly what you want to be seeing, but Chovy's going to move on over, and now he will be the target that they look for. Aftershock or no, Grace still taking a hell of a lot of damage, but that big one is not going to find the mark. Griffin do rotate over, but you can see Tarzan is so healthy.
And Chovy is so safe, he can walk up and put out free damage. He knows he's unaccountable with Flash, the package, also the cleanse available. They just get incremental little leads, and it's not, again, the explosions that perhaps we're praying for but it is just smaller and smaller leads being added together, and enough small things, they make a big thing, Atlas.
Yep, and enough control wards, and you can get vision of this Dragon Pit as well. As there are 3 control wards there, one for Jinner and 2 for Griffin on top of each other. Not sure why they decided to put the extra one there, but now Caesar's finally going to put this Blood Razor to use as Shelly is going to take some Plasma Bolts.
I was watching the Patience, though, got it really low, but no one is topside to reset this. They will take it down. As we mentioned, no issues, single target, blowing things up as the Kai'Sa, but how relevant will this game be in terms of how close it is by the time Kai'Sa actually has something resembling 2 evolves? Because the first evolve is actually not that far away. It's stack attack speed, Berserker Greaves, and we're there. However, how close will the game be by the second evolve?
Well, we'll have to see and see whether we can actually even ask that question as our 15 minutes have ticked by. First turret did go over to Griffin. But right now, 2,000 gold, 2.5 is going to be the lead here for our squad that has been performing so well. Shelly's only going to get 1 charge to take down this outer turret, but that was likely going to go down anyway. So not a hell of a lot of value being gleaned from Shelly.
In case you guys want to start doing your Kai'Sa 200 IQ math, it's 50% attack speed. For the Blood Razor alone, you need 100%. Of course, there is some in-champion attack speed to muddy the waters there. So I imagine after Berserkers, it's like a dagger and you're there. So that's going to be a very cheap first evolve. We did see attack speed evolves first popularized by Prey just around the LCK final in spring season of last year. It was a new champion. Everyone focused on the AD side. Prey went attack speed in order to kite around team fights and go invisible. It's definitely already there. So 16 minutes in, we do have the evolve for the E. It's just after this, what does the Kai'Sa do apart from being really good with CC in lane? So again, can follow up to try to make plays like bot lane. Team fighting wise, definitely not a frontliner and takes a long time to kill someone because it's a pretty low damage build. You need multiple rounds of your passive. So actually getting super value out of this in a 5v5. Griffin, they've got the Sejuani, they've got the AoE, so they roll up to team fights first. It's very hard for C's to change how a fight goes.
Yeah, and it almost feels like the killer instinct is like delivering a kill to Griffin rather than putting on extra pressure, which is the worry of falling behind. As a composition like this, especially from the jungle, just because you don't have as many of those resources, we'll see whether Jinner give more to seize this game.
And you would assume they've won at least a single scrim with this strategy before they run it. You understand what that looks like. If Aatrox and Lissandra win lane and hit the side lanes first, you're deathly afraid of Predator Icon, Deepwater Dive Icon, and also the fact that Kai'Sa is always implied with her ability to swoop in. However, in a slower game, or in a game where your side lanes are actually in a tricky spot, recreating that is very difficult.
Well, still early days so far in this game, and they're not out of it just yet when it comes to the gold. Not any real explosions apart from those couple of kills that Griffin have been able to orchestrate for themselves. Ghostblade was the first item for Linderung, which is an odd one. Going for his Kindle Gem next, which should turn into the Black Cleaver.
His movement speed is fine against Sejuani, for example, so you don't hate it, but like you say, non-standard compared to getting as many flat cooldown reduction items to get to 40% and then building them into things like Black Cleaver. So
extra health against Nico feels like a decent idea as well, given her harass potential, but I don't mind it. Just run around a little bit faster. Sword does have a few CS in the lead over Linderung here, but hasn't been punishing the matchup. The real CS advantages are in the mid lane and in the bottom lane, as basically even 30 CS in the lead for both Viper and Shogun.
And when we had a lot of Corki versus Lissandra, the timings we would always talk about is, can Lissandra get a roam on Corki pre-8 minutes to invalidate his package timing? Can Lissandra make the map moves? Because eventually, Corki walks into the side lane, you try to match him, and he just straight up kills you in a long lane. I can chase you down and kill you. There's a TP advantage for Grace. He's got that going for him, but it has to be map movement, and they have, like we've mentioned, a very mobile comp that can back up with crazy stuff like the Pyke mobility, the Lissandra teleport, and also Kai'Sa flying in. But if the game becomes about the objective Griffin want to play, then you have to come to them, and the comp falls apart. So Jinner very soon need to find wins in side lanes, because the 5v5s, Sivir or no, are not going to be kind for them.
And also, they're going to have to probably fight for this Mountain Drake as well. Griffin are positioned around it. It's up again in 15 seconds. And Griffin, if they get double Mountain, I feel like the two-man Baron potential, or even three-man for the ultra speedy is just going to be really, really hard as Tarzan is going to land the ultimate. The Arctic Assault timing was so clean as Seeds has to use that Killer Instinct to get away. That first pick was amazing.
It's not easy to continually pick Lissandra, but they're able to do it. That was with Merc Treads done, Atlas, and they were able to burst him down. I imagine Grace once again spamming the buttons.
But
wasn't expecting it, taken out.
The CC layering was just amazing from Tarzan. As Nova's looking for a gank towards the top side. Shapeshifter coming in there as Sword desperately trying to juke, but that's point blank. Pop Blossom comes in, that'll guarantee the snare and also buy him a lot of time, turns it around, and Sword's just going to walk away 1v2.
With the last speck of mana as well. Linderong's just wondering what happened. A party foul, it feels like, was played on the side. Sword knew to ult early because remember the shielding doesn't change the calculation for that Pike ult. And with his last speck of mana, he removed the Pike from the Rift.
Yeah. And I know what would be said to me or that Pike player in a solo queue game, and I don't want to repeat it.
Could Grace press any buttons? The answer is yes for a half second there, but the moment he was bounced by Tarzan, he could not, so no early self-ult. Now this is at super low mana, so you just assume Sword is done and dusted. You're already penciling in the kill here. When the stun hits are popped, and remember, it goes through the stasis, turns, hits everything.
And Linderong also a little bit early on the last W.
All timing's
there's a package up there.
All timing's correct versus some timing's wide.
Yeah.
Kind of an embarrassing look for Jinner on that one.
But a great look for Sword, who has been scrutinized more than other Griffin players, especially in the spring season. As that Bone Skewer is not going to land on the target. Well, it's a bit of a whoopsie for Jinner, but a great moment for Sword, who now has his Zhonya's completed, Super Soaker done, he's got some cool shoes, he's feeling great. On the Nico, apart from the CS not necessarily being the advantage that he would otherwise like. Mid laners are towards the top side at the moment, and we've got C's lying in wait with that Killer Instinct there. Tarzan turns up, and I just don't know whether C's and Grace can 2v2 this.
They can't. With Cleanse up, I think it's too hard. You can't blow up the Corki fast enough. And remember, this build from the Kai'Sa, we like it killing neutrals. Remember, killing champions is going to take a while. There's no attack damage in the build. So
yeah, not yet.
No Q evolve, no explosive single target damage that usually you think of when you plug and play Kai'Sa swooping into a fight at level 11. Sword is going tete-a-tete with Linderong, trying to stop him from finding the right angle into the fight. But that's explosive burst damage Corki right now. He's just finished his Infinity Edge, so he's one you don't play around with.
And so why would the Azir ban come in this game? Papa, is my question right now. I know going back to the draft is a little bit weird right now, and Grace is looking for a possible engage. But I'm just thinking that Sejuani could have been banned. Like, this is by far Tarzan's most successful champion apart from Trundle when he was meta, and also the most dangerous jungler on this patch. So why not ban that over the Azir?
So the reason why Jinner did it, in my estimation, obviously having no inside information, is you think about what they're running. They decided very early, we're going full cheese Kai'Sa jungle. Like, that's probably what they prepped for today is, all right, prep Kai'Sa jungle. And Lissandra has a really hard time against Azir in the mid lane because of the outrange. You never get to press Aftershock and he takes your health bar. So they just did it for that as mid lane. Let's see if anything can be forced here.
There's the flash forward from Grace. He was desperately looking for Lehends, who will go down. The Sivir grabs that one. Tarzan's going to flash Viper. A lot of damage off the back end as Tarzan's ultimate is going to pop. But now Sword's looking for the flank. Chovy is making his way in, and Griffin are looking scary. Shape Splitter coming down to save Sword as Linderong did catch up to him, and it looks like despite the kill going over to Jinner, they're still going to be able to get more pressure on this turret. Uh-oh. Yeah, Root has to use the spell shield, but does spell shield the right spell.
The call objective on the back end for Griffin, even though they lost the kill, but finishing the point. They banned stuff that works against what they prepped, which was Kai'Sa jungle. Lissandra is needed so that you actually have that CC in a side lane to follow up on the point and click, rather than LeBlanc, for example, having to hit a chain. So because of that, they banned against that, but because it's Griffin, you're basically banning something Griffin don't play to run your strategy, when you could have just banned Sejuani, and you would have been really surprised to see an Azir.
And it's also maybe something that Chovy's not going to be as comfortable on. and so maybe there's a different option that you can go with. Get Grace to land more trouble bubbles. I mean, he's got a pretty good Zoe under his belt, and that is something that can still set up for C's in theory. Also gives you a few more poke options. Like, there are thoughts here. I was just sort of musing.
I mean, it's a fair muse, but what if you're Jin Air and, you know, we're again speculating, but they're probably not doing too much winning in scrims.
Yeah.
What if you've got something that went 3-0 and you're like, oh, the Azir was hard? Maybe you just say, ban the Azir and this is the best shot we have. It's against Griffin, a team that should beat them many more times than Jin Air can pick up the victory. So when you're coming from this far back, can we really hold it against them?
No, I think that's a good point. As we're looking at some abilities, going a little bit wide, mainly just scouting as the Baron has spawned 5 minutes ago. Saw towards the bottom side, he's got himself his teleport. And Jin Air have a very dark map.
Because you win this game, right, and then the Jin Air diehards come out again, people are impressed with you, they're jazzed, right? This would be a statement to bring out something never before seen in Pro Play outside of Funnel days. This is not Funnel Kai'Sa if you're tuning in late, this was just Jungle Kai'Sa. No jungle follow and no kind of tanking of creeps happening here. But the first clear, the Sejuani clears faster because of that better ability to do AoE camps. And after that, the map control that you were wanting with the threatening Lissandra picks at all times. It was Lissandra being picked, right? The Who Watched the Watchmen went the way of Griffin. And now, without map control, they can't even play the side lanes. It's Corki who's the best side laner right now.
Yep. He's going to be over there just hoovering up these minions. Sword doing the same thing. Jin Air wishing they had a few extra champions on this map because right now they're getting split. It's a disastrous scenario. It feels like there's no good options here for this squad and they're falling further and further behind. I did a bit of snooping, Papa. I just went to check out what Chovy's been playing.
What's he been playing?
In solo queue, just to see whether the Azir might have been popping up. 0 Azir. However, 8 games in his last 12 of canon.
How many games of Azir do you remember from Chovy in his career?
It would not be double digits.
It's not single digits.
Wow.
It's no digits. He's never played a game of Azir. So I only looked at that now, but that does, again, 100% confirm that it was, oh crap, we can't run this strat against Azir.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's not an Azir. That's not a Chovy champion. It really is not.
It's severely not.
He has played.
I was like thinking like, oh, surely then like maybe they've had some done some scouting.
He's played 112 pro games, not including challengers, and he's never played Azir.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could have also busted out his super new fandangled Cho'Gath mid that he went 15, 5, and 18 on.
I mean, realistically, I think teams probably approach these Jin Air games of like, I just don't want to show anything. You know, that's...
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, this is probably akin to kind of how the EU teams are talking about the Rift Rivals, right? Where they're like, oh, we're really scared we're going to reveal strategies for our World's Implications games. Yeah, Rift Rivals. That's kind of probably where Griffin is today, where, look, at the end of the day, it would be a very brave man not to predict 2-0 Griffin in some fashion. They haven't been explosive, but they've done some cool and nice things in this 4-1 kill start. And also, the Jin Air team really want to make it about disarray and pike resets, and it's cool, calm, and collected for Griffin.
The thing that I really like is that Viper knows exactly what he wants. He wants to beat some CS records right now.
He's the real funnel on this game.
That's what I was thinking. I haven't seen numbers like this. He's about to Flame Horizon the clock without being in a funnel comp, which is when we saw numbers like this really start ballooning.
Remember Baron?
Yeah, remember the double Mountain Drake? This is where they're going to be very useful as Grace dives in. Circle of Frost does nothing. Nova tries to get what he can done, but goes golden at the right time. Doesn't seem to matter because that was a genuine zoning ultimate gifted to them with the stopwatch coming out from Nova, and now the Baron is definitely going to go to Griffin.
It's a double Mountain Drake, and they're going to say, want to tank it forever. It's going to be a freebie Atlas on that one.
Hey, they also got a kill. Two.
Exactly.
Whoa. The dream.
It was a 3-for. 2 kills and a Baron kill go their way. The Rage Blade's done from Kai'Sa, but sadly the game is also.
And also, Chovy's got Item Spike, Item Spike, Item Spike. At this stage, that's Rapid Fire Cannon IE.
So I haven't felt this way, and you should remember this. It was before your time, I believe, in the LCK, but obviously you would have been watching on from your LPL casting days. Do you remember when we had 2 games of mispicked Teemo top?
Yes.
Everyone lost their mind, like, yes, Teemo, finally! And then the games just sucked because Teemo kind of lanes well and then doesn't really do anything. The Kai'Sa jungle was exciting until it really wasn't.
Yeah, it was exciting until, like, oh, maybe this was Root not being able to make a blind, and he wanted to have 2 options at the end of the game. And in the end, it actually...
now it's just kind of a dampener where you're like, well, I mean...
Well, sometimes you try the cheese and you don't like it, Pub Smithy, and this is cheese that we're not putting back in the fridge. No. We're putting this cheese in the bin.
Wait, does that mean it's not smelly cheese then?
Well, it might be smelly cheese, just might not be their favorite kind of smelly cheese. You know?
How do you work out when the cheese is off?
Well, cheese is difficult like that, isn't it?
That's why I'm not actually just being mean.
I think you read the use by date and trust it. I like to shave off a few days. It's okay to facilitate it a couple of days afterwards.
Well, Griffin roll in.
Or if it's got green stuff on it, don't eat it.
Let's play a fun game.
Oh, yeah.
Attack speed, magic damage, Blood Razor proc. How many autos from Kai'Sa to kill Sejuani?
About 1 million.
I think it's upwards of 40.
Yeah.
Just auto attacks.
Yeah, if it's just auto attacks,
yes, Warmogs and a Negatron.
I mean, every 5 it is doing % damage, so I guess in theory Tarzan takes a little bit, but he's actually not waiting for that. Grace at least found his Zhonya's button in the meantime, but look at how tanky this Piggy is. Maybe not that much as the final spark is able to come in. Does do a bit of damage here, but Chovy's now carrying this fight. Viper as well, tearing it up. We're looking for the final kill. Is it going to be the full house? No, it is not. It's 2 pair with a bit of Lux on top.
The bit of Lux is too much for Jinair to handle. The game ends at 31 minutes, but the creeping doubt was there very, very early in the piece. Jinair tried to pull off a ruse. Turns out they kind of pulled off a ruse on themselves.
Yeah.
And Griffin win game number 1. And to say they burst into a sweat would be an overstatement.
Yeah, no, this is like, we've got first form of Cell, and this is where Piccolo and Krillin are both fighting, and somehow they've still managed to do it. You know, it's she always wears a hat.
She was also on Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, yeah, I still need to watch that. I still really need to watch that.
You're probably okay.
Oh, really?
Just like if you miss game 1, you're probably okay.
All right, well, maybe Third Rock from the Sun isn't going to be it, but game 2 of Jinair versus Griffin is going to be a thing. Whether Griffin and Jinair want it or not, because this game 1 was not close. I don't think anyone was expecting it to be close. 31 minutes in is, you know, pretty average game time, I guess, but still on the quick side. But Griffin just looked like they weren't challenged.
Well, here's to hoping game 2 is something different.
Yeah, let's hope for some more crazy picks. I want to get that Karthus out of Seas. That wasn't exactly the debut that we wanted. Maybe we'll see Malrong back. Maybe we'll see all sorts of different things in game number 2. Maybe Griffin will try something new also. We'll see you after the break.